Status. From subject to sovereign, transient to tycoon, everyone wants to belong in the universe, to feel valued and respected among their direct circle of peers. But what dictates their position in the pecking order? From where do they derive their pride and self-worth? Money is the marker for many in a system powered by profit. People wear their status on their skin, in their assets and ornaments, and in the positions that define them. Evolved primates who no longer rely on violence to resolve their hierarchy, but cannot dispense with the hierarchy itself. Jerome clocks in at 7:59 a.m. Bus was late again. He tries to slink past the dingy basement office but freezes on the sound of his name. "If you're on time, you're late," Selina grunts at him. "Go straight to the restrooms on the ground floor. I doubt the night team bothered to check them before they left." He quickly hangs up his coat in the storeroom, pulls on his overalls, and does as he's told. The men's bathroom is a toilet paper-strewn war zone. Seems the night team hadn't checked them at all. The mirrors are adorned with smudges, the bins spew rivers of litter, and there are long streaks of what he hopes is mud on the floor. He quickly wipes down the sides by the basins and replaces each bin bag. But as he starts to mop the floor, two senior-looking men enter, immediately commenting on the horror they've walked into. The older one catches his eye and shakes his head admonishingly. "Sorry, sir," Jerome mutters, his eyes downcast. "I'll pass this on to the night team." He nods. "Yes, see that you do." A few seconds later, the cleaner realises who he's spoken to. Patrick Sotheby, the senior partner of the firm. Already diminished from the moment he walked into the building, Jerome would now rather be invisible. It can be seen in his posture as he slouches, hunched over, dragging the mop along the white marble floor. Jerome removed his dignity when he pulled on his overalls this morning, hanging it up beside his outside clothes. Selina frequently addresses him like he's a personal property, and between the daylight hours Monday to Friday, the man might as well be. He feels neither valued nor respected in this concrete edifice and has no semblance of belonging. He cannot summon any pride while his self-worth withers away. Meanwhile, Patrick Sotheby is sending his assistant away for coffee, still irked by the condition of his ground floor bathroom. The clients use his facilities, he knows. How can he be trusted to handle their cases when he cannot even keep his own building in good shape? Ken returns with the latte and places it on the desk. "I've passed on your concerns to housekeeping, sir. They told me it won't happen again." "I certainly hope not," Patrick snaps. "He's my 9:30. Victoria Reitman, sir. I was certain you knew." "Yes, but is it actually her or just one of her clueless people again?" Ken consults his tablet with a pained expression. "Sorry, sir, it isn't specified." "Well, check next time, boy." "Can I at least trust you to send him straight up?" Ken nods. "Sorry, sir." The senior partner has fought tooth and nail to reach his position, spent countless hours studying, chasing leads and working on cases, creating a conglomerate of the highest esteem. It's his name on the building, on stationery and on letterheads, on hundreds of billboards strewn across the city. Most people in the region know the name, and many shrink in his presence, while the others are beguiled by his Bugatti in the parking lot, his Armani suits, or the glimmering Rolex on his wrist. He's a walking symbol of his status. Now for chimpanzees, time is invaluable. But at 10:27 a.m, he's greeting Victoria Reitman at the door to his office, and she ignores the handshaky officer, then audibly tuts when he asks if she'd like a drink. "No, straight to business," she says. "I'm far too busy." "Yes, me too," Patrick thinks but doesn't say. "You've kept me waiting for nearly an hour." "Right, of course. There are just a few details. It's a simple merger, man, and you lot are making a hash of it. Why has it not been finalised already?" The middle-aged lawyer employs his most deferential voice when he says, "Well, Mrs. Reitman, we are still waiting for you to sign a few contracts." Victoria sneers at him and turns to her sallow-faced assistant. "And you would try and make it our fault." She claps her hands together. "Come on then, produce these documents if they're so damn urgent." Slightly flustered, Patrick picks up the contracts from his desk and hands them to her. She barely glances at the printout before thrusting at her subordinate, who spends the next few minutes scrutinising each page and quietly repeating sections of fine print. "Will that be all then?" Victoria Reichman barks at the senior partner, scribbling her signature on the last few pages with an arrogant flourish. "Yes, madam," Patrick says. "That's all we need. If you'd like me to explain—" "No, you've taken up quite enough of my time already. In future, I'd suggest you email or fax these types of documents over. The gall of summoning me to this damn building when such things could be so easily done virtually." "I did both these things," Patrick thinks, but again doesn't say. "It was your own assistant who'd insisted you'd come here to settle things in person." The senior partner paints on a smile. "Well, it's a pleasure to work for you, Mrs. Reichman," he says in a diffident voice, once more offering his hand as they linger by the threshold. She waves him off. "No handshakes, you silly man. What age do you think we're living in?" Patrick blushes. "Oh, quite right, madam. Well, stay safe. Hopefully see you soon." She grunts before stomping out, her assistant hurrying off after her. With his biggest, rudest client gone, Patrick feels at home in his own building once more. He calls Ken back in and immediately slaps the signed contracts across the man's chest. The assistant lets out a whimper but keeps hold of the pages. "She didn't say for long," he says as he peeks through the blinds. "Long enough," Patrick mutters. "Now make yourself useful and fetch me another latte." Once he's finished in the men's bathroom, Jerome starts mopping the floor of the lobby. Though it's not long before his pager starts buzzing and he's summoned back to the basement. Sotheby has been raging about the state of that ground floor bathroom, Serena yells as he stands in front of her desk. "I thought I told you to make it a priority." "I did, Mum," Jerome replies. "Went straight there when I started. I was in the middle of cleaning it when—" "It reflects poorly on me when you morons can't do the basics," she interrupts him. "But trust me, it'll be your head that rolls if you receive another complaint, not mine." "Sorry, Mum. It was really the night team who didn't—" "Enough," she growls. "No excuses. It's nearly 11 and I haven't even had a hot drink yet." She shakes her head and holds out a swipe card. "Get me a cappuccino from the machine and make it quick." Jerome nods and bows his head. "Yes, ma'am." Walking back through the lobby towards the coffee machine, Jerome is intercepted by Ken, the senior partner's assistant. "Oh, you there," he says. Jerome smiles. "Yes, sir? I see that card in your hand. Are you heading towards the cafeteria?" "Yes, sir." "Well, fetch Mr. Sotheby a latte with 1 sugar and bring it to the top floor. Don't you dare keep him waiting." The cleaner does as he's asked and rushes to the cafeteria. After swiping the expense card on the machine and pressing the button for a latte, he watches the beans being ground as the aroma of fresh coffee teases his nostrils. He's never had a drink from this fancy machine. At best he can only settle for the crappy freeze-dried kind, though most mornings he's too busy for even this small luxury. Deciding the senior partner is the person he wants to displease the least, he hurries to the elevator and presses the button for the top floor, then panics slightly, unsure of where to go. Which office is Mr. Sotheby's?" he asks the first woman he finds. She frowns, regarding him like something she's just scraped off her shoe. "He's down at the far end, but you really shouldn't be up here looking like—" She glances at his overalls. "I'm only dropping off a latte," Jerome replies, defensive. "Well, just give it to his assistant then. He's the one sitting at the desk outside." Jerome nods and lopes across the room, looking down. He passes various cubicles, the inhabitants of which turn, regarding him like he has no business being on their floor. "Ah yes," Ken says when he notices Jerome walking over. "1 sugar, well stirred in." Jerome nods, now questioning his ability to stir. "Good." Ken snatches the drink before knocking on the office door behind him and immediately entering. Before the door closes, the cleaner hears Mr. Sotheby's booming voice. "That was quick, boy. Maybe you're not so useless after all." Jerome then rushes back down to the basement to hand Selina her cappuccino. She immediately prizes off the lid and informs him it's lukewarm, before scowling at the reason he gives her. "And he made you use my expense card? The damn nerve." She tuts. "Fine. Well, that'll be all. Get back to work." Jerome has only been at Sotheby and McCaskill for 6 months now. and must have thought about quitting at least a dozen times. Though never late, he's often made to feel like he is, and each evening he takes 2 buses home, aching and exhausted from a day of hard, thankless tasks. What it must feel like to be one of those stuffy lawyers, he often thinks to himself. To dress up for work in an expensive suit, barking orders at lowly people like him. Even trading places with Selena or the secretaries would be a large step up. These people at least garner some level of respect. They don't wake up every morning knowing they'll have to scrub toilets, shrinking themselves down in the hope they won't be noticed. And despite his supervisor's perpetual state of sullenness, she must be on a good wage to own the shiny blue sedan she drives to work in, while the used mopeds he browses online are still way beyond his means. At 33, he was certain his life would be different, that he'd at least be doing a job that he wasn't ashamed to speak of in public. Options are scarce for unskilled, uneducated men like him, though. Men so low on the pecking order that there's no one beneath them to peck. At least today's Friday, and when he changes out of his overalls in the storeroom, he relocates his dignity, taking solace in the thought of forgetting this dreary place for the next couple of days. Tonight he can focus on his greatest passion, judo, the only thing that seems to give his life the smallest sense of purpose. He arrives at the dojo just before 7 p.m, bowing to his sensei before he signs in. "Good to see you," the man replies with a wide grin. "I'll need all the help you can give me tonight." This worn-out gymnasium is the only place where Jerome feels he truly belongs. Now a 5th Dan black belt, he's been attending the school for half his life, and the only person here with a higher grade is the instructor himself. Each evening the cleaner shares the mats with doctors and teachers, accountants, entrepreneurs, and even a lawyer employed at his firm. Only a handful of these judo players are black belts, however, and none close to approaching his level. After helping his teacher with a group of experienced brown belts, demonstrating moves and giving corrections as they practice them, the pair chat about recent poor attendance to the advanced Wednesday classes. "The midweek sessions are a struggle for me too, to be honest," Jerome says, looking down. "I have to be up for work at the crack of dawn." The judo teacher smiles. "I only wish I could pay you enough to leave that place for good. You know how much I value your help here?" Jerome nods. "I'll see what I can do." An hour or so later he's sparring one of the more senior black belts, rolling into advantageous positions with ease, commenting on the student's technique in an amiable manner. Eventually he secures an armbar on the larger man, who immediately taps out and curses. Jerome releases him and they both return to their feet. "Ugh, walked into that one, didn't I?" "You're rushing," Jerome says. "Take your time. Don't forget the fundamentals." The black belt nods, following it up with a bow. "Yes, thank you, sensei." Every student here treats Jerome with the utmost deference and respect. Even multi-millionaires are demurred and humbled in the dojo. In this building, the cleaner has status. His talent and experience in the martial art have granted him a distinct form of admiration, not unlike that proffered to Patrick Sotheby by his staff of Ivy League graduates. But no one cares that Jerome took 2 buses to arrive at this building, or that he can't even muster the money to buy a cheap moped, though his sneakers in the locker room may be old and worn out. In this space, everyone is barefoot. The business person's power suit is irrelevant in the sweaty gymnasium. All humans prescribe to some form of hierarchy, frequently judging their brothers and sisters by an invisible code. Some relish in the power like it's a valid marker of self-worth, flaunting it, abusing it, talking down to subordinates, taking every opportunity to remind them of their place. There may always be supervisors in dingy offices, addressing their staff like lesser beings, oh so proud to have risen above them. But everyone answers to some vaguely higher authority. There's always someone bigger and better than the person they've become. Someone who can admonish them with a glance, diminishing their pride and undermining their power. And while it may seem that status is rarely deserved, or established on abilities such as brain power or skill, a person may take solace in this widespread uncertainty. From subject to sovereign, Transient to tycoon, all are creations of the same universe, with no less right to be here than the universe itself.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support us, please like, share and subscribe. There is much more on the way.